Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Please make sure that you like the video. All the likes have fallen down. So anybody who actually wants videos to actually succeed on YouTube, and not just the mainstream media who has uh, partnered with YouTube so that YouTube then promotes only their videos, you would like videos, thumbs up videos, and try and encourage YouTube to keep supporting actual independent YouTubers like myself. Otherwise, you're going to end up with Hulu because that's what YouTube wants. YouTube wants to turn YouTube into Hulu. And if you don't interact and show advertisers that the YouTuber is exactly who they want to be working with, the YouTuber is going to go away, period. And I'm not trying to say doom and gloom. I'm telling you what's coming down the pipeline. I have it on my channel. I have little things of this is what we want to do with YouTube. They want YouTube to be the next Hulu or to be a bigger Hulu. So make sure you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video, share the video, share the video, right? 1,000 job applications. YouTube started in 2005. I created an account in 2006. I'm a partner in 60 videos. I was already on the Google payroll with AdSense and was barely staying afloat with all my blogs and websites. I taught myself web design and I had a few clients before I ventured into YouTube. It has been my off and on objective to observe how people make money and how to improve that. Some people are not very happy about me trying to improve people making money, namely YouTube. So you better like this video because YouTube doesn't want me to tell you all stuff like this. People mistakenly group the poor into a one-party sort of system, right? They call them the poor. Most people are just broke. And that broke scale is a sliding scale all the way up to millionaires. Here's something funny you might not realize. There's a guy eating caviar and drinking champagne right now, and he has less money than you. He's not he's not only broke, but he's in the hole by millions of dollars. The difference is he could walk into a bank tomorrow and get another $1 million in loans. He could sign up for a $1 million insurance policy tomorrow. But for some reason, we don't group all broke people together. But we do group poor people. I have to convince broke people that they are just broke. I've discovered that a lot of people are poor because they've been convinced they are poor. What's the difference between poor and broke? Or for that matter, rich and broke? Broke is a temporary situation. Broke is when somebody stops you on the street and asks you for $1 and you seriously don't have $1 to give them right now. That's broke. Poor is your kid asking you for an ice cream and you sitting him down and having a man-to-man talk about how he shouldn't be eating sweets and that he'll never get an ice cream from you because you are a poor family. A few years ago, probably 6, I started a video campaign where I was going to record my going to 1,000 job interviews. I would come back and report how I didn't get the job and all the funny things that happened. Because it was a joke for me, right? Because I already had a business. Which is really funny, the different attitude that you have going in for a job when you are already own a business. After ages of not having a job, I got a job with a pharmaceutical company. Here's the catch. They paid $8 an hour. Now, years ago, $8 an hour was good money. It's probably even today some people would be happy to make $8 an hour. Not only was I not happy, But it was a horrible experience, and I learned a very valuable lesson. What was the lesson? You have to evaluate your total income versus your total expenses. And I, like a lot of adults, just didn't do that. I was going broke working for that company. Every month I was hundreds of dollars in the hole. And before you think I was a spendaholic, no. I had a monk lifestyle. I had no furniture in the front room. I never had company over. I cooked from scratch at home every single day. So I definitely wasn't spending massive amounts of money in expenses. My basic expenses outweighed my income. Now, for someone that is mindful of their income and expenses, this is just a bad decision to work for an income that doesn't actually benefit them. And that's a major difference between the broke and the poor. A broke person just made a bad decision on their income or miscalculated an expense. A poor person doesn't ever calculate the expense. They consume without thought. So, that's the basics. Let's move on to actually being mindful of the income and making a conscious decision about the income. So, for this, for those that have a number in their head of the minimum that they need to survive, live comfortably, or three, live well, this is the difference between a company making an offer and you just not knowing what you actually need and accepting it, versus a company making you an offer and you have calculated exactly how much you need in being pleasantly surprised with the offer. For example, Charles gets an offer of $50,000 a year and he is cheering, versus Keith, who gets an offer of $120,000 a year and he turns it down. It's not enough. If both men know their expenses, these are logical reactions to both offers. Now, what circumstances could it be that $120,000 a year would be a bad offer? I bet a few of you already know what I'm going to say, and a few of you already know that, yep, $120,000 isn't enough. Keith quickly calculated living expenses, clothing expenses, commuting expenses, extra travel expenses, and 10% for emergency expenses. That if the car breaks down or something like that, always add on 10% in expenses to your expense calculation. Because sometimes you just don't think about, oh, I have that generator that I have to pay for every month, right? It's just something that you don't think about, but maybe it just comes automatically out of your checking account and you don't even think about it. He lives in the Bay Area and comes to the total that he needs to be $150,000 a year to feed himself healthy food. That's not going out and eating junk food. Healthy food is a little bit more expensive than junk food, right? So healthy food, put gas in a car, pay for the car insurance, have a wardrobe to go to work for at the office 6 times a week, because that's the realistic schedule, not the offer schedule of 5 times a week. And medical expenses due to increase stresses, and going to the gym to decrease the stress to keep you healthy and fit for health and fitness. So the $120,000 a year is not only not good for him as an offer, it's a bad offer. But it's not that the company shouldn't offer that. That's just Keith's circumstances. There could be a guy that lives next to the company, and $120,000 a year would give him a net profit of $50,000 a year. Each person is different, and everybody's different. Every single person is different. So we're talking about the United States. Every single person has their own circumstances, right? So please don't come with you need to offer everybody $120,000. No, that's not how it works. A major factor in this is child support that affects a huge segment of the male population. So that the men, although they may have equal custody of the child, still has to pay the woman for her time with the kid. That system is terrible and needs to be completely reformed and completely revoked. In general, young men in major cities on the coast, on the East Coast, on the West Coast, face this injustice far more than older men or men in the country in the United States, in the middle of the United States, where divorce is actually quite rare due to women being more dedicated to actually being mindful of their family and husband and not making spur of the moment decisions to get married when she's not actually marriage material. Can I get an amen? So, a huge portion of the male population, when calculating offers from companies, have to add on child support and extra medical insurance for extra beings in their household who might be estranged from their life. So, if you're in that situation, be sure to put that in your expenses in your calculations. Finally, and that's something that you have to talk about. It's not something that you need to ignore, especially when doing stuff like financial videos like this. We have to address the fact that men have child support as a calculation in their expenses, and that for the most part it's an injustice. There's a whole study on child support and how it is just a scam. You know, people logically think, oh, well, it's a child. That means it's an extra person, so that means you have to have extra money to pay for that person. When in fact, they found that children actually do not add to the household when we're talking about one or two kids. When you're adding on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, then it's an expense. But when it's like one child, they have literally calculated, drawn the income statements and expense statements from thousands of families and found that no, adding the child didn't do anything. Sure, there's people who go out and buy their children Gucci shoes and Gucci clothes, but those are just people who more than likely are poor, right? For the most part, people who actually have children do two things. They stop buying themselves stuff that they would regularly buy, and they stop eating as much as they would regularly eat, and then they become more mindful of stuff like food. They become more mindful and more mindful and more. This is the mark of a good parent, right? So they become more mindful of their expenditures across the board in everything, so that one or two children has a net zero impact financially on the family. So now, tell me then, why is it then that there is a child custody, what is it called, payment expense at the man's part, when at the juncture that you should be talking about, because I don't think people get divorced when you have a brand new newborn, right? For the most part, the child's established and the household is established, and then they get the divorce. And by that time, the woman or man should have already adjusted their lifestyle to the new person, and they don't have extra expenses. That's a whole nother topic. And for some reason, when you hear people talk about minimum wage workers, the workers will say they're making minimum wage with 10 years of experience. And when asked, why aren't they the manager or owner, they go into excuses. It's never as black and white as they pretend it is to be. Every person is different. Now, finally, you have the skill, now you have the experience, and you've worked for the company for 10 years. It's not enough to sit there and pile up a 401k. You're 30 and you need to take the next big step. parlay all of that into starting your own business. What's really great about experience is you can stock that up when pitching it to your the company that you want to start to investors. Experience is everything. Who's going to invest in a kid with with an idea with no experience versus a 10-year veteran in the auto mechanics industry with 6 different certifications? Your experience is your ticket to huge investments by investors who know that business. They want to invest in someone they can trust, and that's you with your 10 years experience. Never just settle for a job. Use it as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. You're not only refused that job that didn't pay what you wanted, but you've been saving up your nest egg for the business that you knew you were going to start right away, right? So someday, that you're going to start someday. Now, a job, some people call it just over broke, right? So even if we're talking about you're a lawyer or you are a doctor or whatever, you have a profession, quote unquote. A job, if it's just a job where you physically have to go in and you have to do something, you're not the officer of a company. You have to go in and do something to generate money. You know the wealth quadrants that Robert Kiyosaki talks about. When you physically have to go in, that is you trading time for money. And the only real reason that you want that is because you want the dependability, and hopefully the company stays afloat while you're there. A dependability of a paycheck every month or every week, every 2 weeks or however. I only get paid once a month. Did you all know that? So let's assume you're like me and you only get paid once a month. You then have to pile that money up to then fund. You are going to be funding all of your other projects that you have going on. The job, you're not supposed to just settle for the job, and that's something that they keep convincing adults of, right? That to be a good adult, you have to go get a good job. No, a job is something where you work for somebody else to make sure that they get wealthy, and in the meantime, you barely squeak by. And depending on how skilled you are, that squeaking by is going to be less and less and less of you squeaking by, and you actually being able to afford some sort of lifestyle and save up some money and maybe invest the extra, right? Now, no investor wants to just hand you money. They want to partner with you, meaning not only legally as a partner, but also philosophically as a co-investor with you. You believe in yourself, so you invest in your business too. You have to put some skin in the game, and that's not just your sweat equity. It's not just that you go in and you do the programming of all the computer stuff. It's not that you go into the auto mechanic shop and you work on the cars, or you run a cash register, or you fill up all of the HR applications and stuff like that that you physically are working in the business, which you're actually not supposed to do. That's only if you can't hire somebody to do it for you. You have to actually literally invest in the company. That's what they want. Sweat equity is only worth so much. When we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, we're talking you better be putting in tens of thousands of dollars yourself. And that's it. You got your investors, you got your business, and all because you were smart in choosing your job. Now, I hope this has been eye-opening to you. I hope for somebody somewhere that this sort of set out the light bulb of, oh, you know what? I shouldn't be working a job. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't be working minimum wage. Minimum wage should be only a month. Here's the complete destruction of the whole minimum wage argument. Minimum wage should only be a month. After a month, you should be sending out 1,000 job applications for your next job. In fact, you shouldn't be taking the minimum wage job. Now, a lot of people are pretending that there should not be a job that pays, what is it, $7.75 an hour? They're pretending that there should not be a job that pays $7.75 an hour. Here's the problem with that. The actually job description says you will sweep the floor, you will wipe the tables off, you will clean out the restroom. That is only worth probably $6 an hour, probably $5, probably if we were serious about $2 an hour. That job is probably only worth $2 an hour. But by federal law, you can't pay $2 an hour. You have to pay $7.75. Now, so then when they talk about $15 an hour being the minimum, that means that job of sweeping the floor, wiping off the table, cleaning out the restroom has to go away, has to disappear. Because you're not going to pay somebody $15 an hour for an actual $2 an hour job. They're going to give that $2 an hour job on to somebody who makes the $15 an hour, because that person also flips all the burgers. They check in all of the stock in the morning when the trucks come in. They write up all the inventory. They give the inventory sheets to the assistant manager, or maybe even they're the assistant manager, because $15 an hour means that you're going to be firing all the people who all they did was flip burgers and run the cash register. That's what that means. So it's not, I'm trying to tell you that is not true. If you are a business owner, you know good and well, if a kid came by and says, "Mister, could I sweep your floors and wipe off the tables and clean out your restroom for $2 an hour," you would give that kid that job. And they would come by twice a day, and you would give them $10 each and every day, because that's what that job is actually worth. But you can no longer do that. You used to be able to do that. You used to be able to do that. You used to have kids come in, do little odds and end jobs that didn't amount to anything, but made your restaurant look pretty, right? It kept your restaurant clean, and the kid then learned the responsibility of a job and actually got some money, so that the kid then now has his own money to go and do stuff with what he wants, right? And so now it doesn't lead down the path of where we don't want the kids to go. You know, where I never had money, so so when I went into the store, I just grabbed the candy, right? No, he's got $10 each and every day. Every day he's got $10. That means in a week he's got $70, because he can work 7 days a week, because he's only going there for a couple hours each and every day. This is the stuff that we're doing now in the United States, and the stuff that we're talking about. I want to improve the job situation. So I believe minimum wage should be abolished, because we can have scenarios like that. That we can have you have a whole neighborhood full of young 14-year-olds to 16-year-olds who have nothing to do and no money. Look, you could come do this, get you a little bit of money so that you have money in your pocket. That way, nobody's running around and says, "I don't have money. I'm a big kid. I'm going to go beat up all the kids for their lunch money," right? You don't have that situation. So then that doesn't lead on to the next step and the next step and the next step. That's at the bottom of the rung. Then you have to come to the people who are broke and middle class and not putting two and two together to understand that they are not supposed to be working that job and collecting and investing in that 401k and staying at that job, which only goes up by 10% depending on who's the president of the United States, because of taxes, right? That they are supposed to be, as an adult, starting their own business. That's the whole point of the United States. That was the whole objective. That you're not supposed to be working a job. You're supposed to be starting your own business. Now, are you working your business? That might be. Maybe you're a florist, and there are just not that many florists. Or maybe you're the only florist in town. You go in and work, and nobody knows how to cut flowers and grow flowers, do whatever. I have no idea what a florist does. And you have your business. And the next guy is a candlestick maker, right? Why? Because people need candles. They want scented candles. They want pretty candles. They want big candles. They want candles that goes into the Catholic cathedrals. Whatever, right? He's a candlestick maker. That's still a business. That you still buy candles. People still buy candles. Or emergency candles. Can I get an amen for all of you preppers out there? You have your candles that last for an entire week. Huh? I'm sure they exist. I don't know anything about candles, but I'm sure they exist, right? And that's what each one of you as an adult, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And the money is simply supposed to be traded as you go and trade to each of the businesses. So you have person who makes the clothes, person who makes the food, person who makes the fixes the cars, person that does the construction work in your house. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to keep and hold a job for your entire life. Thank you all for watching. I hope this has been motivational, encouraging, educational. Thank you. Leave a like. Good day, sir. I say good day. I say sir because 90% of my people are men. For you 10% fly honeys, you are my 10% fly. Maybe I should make that a t-shirt, 10% fly honeys. Thank you.